When you're selling your home, you want to be careful not to make this mistake. Now, in today's video, we're going to go over a lesson that a seller learned the hard way, and we're going to get after it right now. Now, my name is David Matney with Nebraska Realty. Now, the goal of my channel is to help you buy, sell, or invest in real estate, or if you're looking to move to the Omaha area, to give you some idea what our area is like. Now, if this sounds like your kind of content, hey, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and ring that bell for notifications. I do post videos to my channel each week. Now, let's jump into today's topic. Right now, we're in a seller's market. Now, this took place during a buyer's market. However, this lesson can be applied in any market. Now, several years ago, back when it was a buyer's market, 20% of the homes listed did not sell. They expired. And at the time, I worked expired listings. And what you would do is when a home was listed and after the contract expired, then you could reach out to that seller and apply for the job of selling their home. And what I did was in this particular listing, this listing had expired and I reached out and contacted the seller. Now, to give you a little more backdrop in terms of this story, this home originally was listed in 2007 for $224,950. And then it went through 8 agents and I was the 9th agent and I applied for the job in 2010. And the home at that time expired for $184,950. Now, when I met with the seller, I asked the seller, hey, when you had the home listed before, did you have any offers? And he said, yeah, I had an offer. When I had it listed for $224,950, I had an offer for $200 and I didn't take it because I didn't want to give it away. Well, fast forward 3 years later, I applied for the job in 2010. And like I said, it expired for $184. So there's a couple of big lessons to learn here. Number one is when you price your home, always price it on an even break point. It just drives me crazy when people price the home at like $224,950. It's much better to price it at $225,000. Okay, and then the second lesson is your best offer may be that very first offer that comes on board. So you want to make sure that you consider that offer seriously, even though you may think, well, hey, we'll get other offers, because I've seen it time and time again where that comes back to haunt a seller. And then the other thing to take away is when a home is on the market for an extended period of time, people start to wonder, gosh, what's wrong with that property? Something must be wrong with it. I mean, you might ask yourself, well, what does this even mean in today's market? We're in a seller's market and not a buyer's market. The lessons still apply because in today's market, it just means the timeframes have shrunk. Instead of a home being on the market for 3 or 4 months and getting stale, in today's market, if a home is out there for 2 or 3 weeks, then buyers think, hey, what's wrong with that market? Because homes are selling so quickly. And here's the other thing I'm seeing in today's market. A lot of sellers are so spoiled by today's market, they're starting to take shortcuts. They're starting to take shortcuts in terms of cleaning the property or staging the property. You want to make sure that you don't take those shortcuts. I mean, you can sell a home in today's market for sale by owner, but if you truly want top dollar and you want that the most that the market will bear, you'll list your home with an agent and you'll do all those things to make your property stand out that much more to your competition. And that way you're going to get the most amount of money that the market will bear for your property. All right, kind of back to the story. So I had the home listed in 2010. It took me over a year to sell it. When he finally accepted an offer, it sold for $135,000. So this seller took a complete bath on this property. Okay, a couple things to consider. Number one, it was on a busy street. Okay, number two, it was a 7-bedroom home. And this was a killer too, in the fact that when people buy a home, they also buy the neighbors. This home was sandwiched between 2 old homes that were now converted into apartment buildings. So it had that going against it. It was also right during the market downturn. So this property it would be a tough sell in any market. And just for the sake of this video, I re-looked up that property and the seller tried to sell it again in 2016. Now in 2016, we had a seller's market, But that home, it still expired in that market. And then he turned around and sold it after it expired, and he sold it for $137,000. So if you're buying a home, one of the things that you can do is when you purchase a home is you can do an address history on the MLS. So you can look up and see what the history of that property was. And I'm sure that set off a lot of red flags when you see all those listings that have expired. And then the other thing you want to do is when you're buying a property, you want to look down the road and look at when you go to sell it. Because homes sell for market value. But you want to look down the road and think, okay, maybe you're willing to put up with a busy street, or maybe you don't mind the home. It's sandwiched between two apartment buildings. That doesn't bother you. But it's going to bother the potential buyer when you go to sell it. And on top of that, it had steam heat. So that frightened us a few folks as well. But anyway, you want to make sure that you look down the road when you go purchase the property. What's it going to be like when I go to sell it? And I've had this happen to where the home backed up to a dirt road. Well, then 10 years later, that street is now a 4-lane road, and there's all sorts of development behind it. So you've got to look down the road when you go to purchase the property as well. Now, if you want another lesson on when you go to sell a home and some of the pitfalls during the inspection, I'm going to cover another video right over here on the inspection process, and a really good lesson to learn on that. So be sure to check out that video, and you make it a great day.